for the Unit 3 Part 1 review, the first 3 problems have to do with slope. How do you find slope? So 1 and 2, you would use this formula here. And then for the graph, you would be doing rise over run. Alright, so for the first 2, we want to use this formula. And in order to use that formula, I'm going to go ahead and label my points. So we know a point should be x and then y. But in this case, we're going to do 1s for the first point and 2s for the second point. Okay? Then I'm going to take my y's and plug them into this spot up here. Okay? So first of all, I know that m equals something minus something over something minus something. Let's go fill in these 4 numbers. So y2, negative 3. y1, negative 2. x2 at the bottom is a 5, and then x1 is a 1. So in class, we discussed that if you have the 2 negatives together, that becomes a positive. So we've got negative 1 over 4. That cannot reduce, so we're just going to leave it negative 1/4. In number 2, same thing, label, set up your fraction, and then plug in. So negative 4, negative 4. For x2, we have 5, x1, we have negative 4. So here we've got that double negative situation, make them both positive. This gives me 0 and 9. A 0 divided by 9 is just 0. So slope here is 0. Okay. If 0 was on the bottom, it would have been undefined. But 0 is in the numerator or the top, so it's just 0. Okay. For number 3, let's zoom in just a little bit for this one. For this, we have to rise and run. So from the most left point, I can't rise and get to here. So I have to fall. So I'm going to fall 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I fall, that means it's a negative. And then I run to the right, which is 2, which is positive. So that means I'm looking at negative 4 halves. Well, that can reduce to be simply negative 2. And yes, you could get negative 2 over 1, but that still divides to be negative 2. And when you have it in an equation, you just have this. When you take it out of the equation, then you put it over 1 to graph it. So we're just going to leave it negative 2. Alright, for number 4 and 5, let's move this down a little bit. For number 4 and 5, it says that you want to draw an example of a line that has each of the given slopes. So for this one, we just want to have a negative slope and a 0 slope. So I'm just going to draw a negative slope. We know that a negative slope has to go from left to right in a falling or downward angle. So just anywhere on the graph, as long as you draw anything like this that's going into a downward position, that is acceptable. Okay? If it was positive, I would go the other way and draw it this direction. Okay? For 0, 0 slope is just left to right. So anywhere on the graph you want to go left to right, you would just go left to right. And that's 0. If it asked you to do undefined, you would go up and down. Okay? Then for 6 and 7, for these, you have been taught different equations, okay, to graph a line. And so you have to compare the equations to what you know about these 3 types: slope-intercept form, point-slope form, and standard form. And for both of those problems, they look just like slope-intercept form. Okay, so I would look and say, okay, for both of these, what is my slope as a fraction? It's always in front of x, so that would be 3 over 1. And what is my b? And that's negative 2. And you always begin on the y-axis at whatever this number is. So I'm going to go on the y-axis at negative 2, put a point. Then my slope is 3 over 1, so I'm going to have to rise 3, run to the right 1. Rise 3, run 1. Then I go back to that number, and I can see if I can go down. So I go down 3, left 1. I'm still on that line, so I can go ahead and graph my point. Okay, and then for number 7, this is also slope-intercept form. So m is 2 over 1 in front of the x, and this is your b. So we are going to start at 2, and then we are going to go up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. And then we can also go down 2, left 1. And then from there, we go ahead and draw our line. And just something to compare, up here is said to draw a negative slope, and you see how the line is falling from left to right. Okay, both of these are positive slopes, and you can see how the line is rising from the left to the right. So, if the test asked you to do a positive slope, you would have to be able to understand that you would have to draw it in this direction here. Okay.